Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are at on this spinning marble. And welcome to the Dynasty Stock Market with Bigz and Key. We are here in the middle of free agent frenzy, and this show is presented to you by Fast Draft. If you love drafting and you want to draft faster with Fast Draft. Available at fastdraft.app. Use code BOOTH, BOOTH, for a $25 deposit match on your first time deposit and play some fun best ball games. We got Flex 4, which is all positions, skill positions, like just normal fantasy. We got Origins. Origins is all rookies. It's just rookie drafts, but it's rookie best ball. And then we have our D-up game. It's IDP. If you love defensive players, if you know you got a good floor with linebackers and their tackle points, draft yourself a New England Patriots Robert Spillane. Oh my God, I just let the cat out of the bag. And win yourself some money in some IDP leagues. Fast Draft is super fun, and you can also go subscribe to the Fast Draft YouTube channel, and they're doing good work over there. You know all about it, Key.
Yes, sir. Yeah, welcome in everybody. And yeah, they just did a massive rankings update over there as well. I don't know if you had the link, but I was just watching, and the Sonic Truth podcast, which may still be live, they had the rankings up and were showing some of the defensive players, some of the top 10 guys there, just kind of talking through that. But yeah, all the rankings site wide are getting updated. And yeah, we're pretty much ready to roll. We keep having these post Senior Bowl, post.
Yeah.
Now we're at post free agency. What did we just come out of last week?
It's draft
post
season.
combine. So now it's pre-draft. So we coming back with a more of an update for you. We'll probably do a mock here at some point down the line. We've been doing those every week, it seems like. But today, absolutely diving in and talking about the free agency risers for really starting this weekend. We had some action and going into today, and it's going to just keep on rolling. You've got some teams that prefer to wait a little bit when the prices come down, because really in free agency, you're spending top of the dollar a lot of times on players. There has to be some kind of either team loyalty or some reason that someone might want to take a bit of a discount, because on day one, usually guys are going top that they can, or they're getting the best deal that they can. That's when the main bidding wars are going on. But I'm curious, Bigz, right at the top, who's one of the biggest free agency winners? This is a poll that may still actually be live right now in the Sonic Truth podcast, but stay right here, guys. Like and subscribe. But you've got DK Metcalf, Najee Harris, Justin Fields, Devontae Adams. So you've got DK Metcalf going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Najee and Justin Fields leaving the Steelers, Najee going to the LA Chargers, Justin Fields becoming the quarterback, which we presume to be the bridge quarterback to start week one for the New York Jets, replacing Aaron Rodgers, and Devontae Adams leaving the Jets and going over to LA, but for the Rams. So how do you feel about this? This poll has Fields going, but I would say this is fairly close. You've got 25% votes here. This is out of 76 votes. But how are you feeling, Biggs? Who would be one of your biggest winners for the weekend? Doesn't even have to be on this list.
Well, I think, and my biggest winner isn't on this list.
All right.
But I think it shakes out kind of like that. We still have some yet to be seen action. I think from that list, Justin Fields is definitely the biggest winner. He is a top 10 quarterback when he starts 17 games. He's not a good NFL quarterback. I don't think he's going to improve the Jets very much. But the rumors of Garrett Wilson's demise are highly my words aren't coming. Are highly exaggerated. Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson know each other. Garrett Wilson did just fine at Ohio State when when Justin Fields was his quarterback. Garrett Wilson is pretty much quarterback proof. We've watched him struggle with quarterback position. This is what, his fourth or fifth, sixth quarterback in the last 3 years, which is, you want consistency. You need your quarterback to know who you are and what you're doing. And I think this comes the closest to somebody actually having a relationship with him in his career. So everybody who's thinking, well, Justin Fields isn't going to get him the ball. Justin Fields made DJ Moore a fantasy relevant quarterback or a wide receiver, even when Justin Fields was not good at throwing the football, which he's still not. I think the Jets are banking a little bit on Justin Fields having, kind of a fourth year Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold kind of, Geno Smith did the same thing. I think Devontae Adams benefits definitely from going down to Matthew Stafford, although you're splitting hairs when you're talking about Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford. Rodgers didn't have a great year, but he certainly has the capability of putting together a year the same as Stafford, and Stafford is a year older. I think DK Metcalf of that list is the biggest loser of the draft, depending on what the Steelers do with George Pickens. You have two guys who are boundary guys. You have two guys who are contested catch guys. You have two guys who are, they do very, very similar things. And I unless they're going to expand Pickens' route tree, I don't see a whole lot of room for both of them on that field. The other part of that is, who's the quarterback in Pittsburgh? There's no quarterback in Pittsburgh at this moment. Russell
Are
Wilson.
you willing to project? Just guess who it'll be.
I mean, it looks like Aaron Rodgers is gonna be the guy that lands there. I
so
think
if that caliber quarterback was there, an old caliber quarterback, does that do anything for you if they keep both guys, or do you need Pickens to get traded away? DK to be good.
I don't know. It's
weird.
It's kind of up in there. I do. Yeah. To be honest, and frankly, I need to look into it a little bit more and figure out what we're looking for as far as where they both tend to line up and what their route trees are. But from what I understand, they're essentially both X receivers. I think George Pickens has the potential to move more into a Y kind of role, but I don't know how comfortable he is running a route tree like that. And we'll see. So I wouldn't make any rash decisions on either one of them. Currently, we have over at Dynasty Daddy, DK Metcalf is the number one traded wide receiver, the number one wide receiver involved in trades. And I think that kind of lines up. Just as with the New York Jets and Justin Fields situation, the Pittsburgh Steelers making a trade for DK Metcalf is a huge vote of confidence. They feel like they know that they can bring him in and he can succeed. It is an Arthur Smith offense. Let's not forget that. And so there's still going to be Jalen Warren heavy. There's still going to, whoever else they bring in at running back to replace Najee Harris. There's still, unless they just give 250 carries a year to Jalen Warren, they're going to have to make a move and either draft a running back or sign somebody else. Miles Sanders was just released by the Panthers today. So, maybe he has something left in the tank. We don't know at this point. One of the big winners that was not on that list was Geno Smith. Geno Smith is a guy who has had two pretty phenomenal years. He takes an upgrade at offensive line in his move from Seattle to the Raiders. Their running back situation is still up in the air, but he's got two very, very good pass catchers in Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. And ostensibly, the Raiders are going to make a move at the X wide receiver position. So, he's reunited with Pete Carroll, who was the head coach when he had the best season of his career. I think he finished as QB4 in fantasy that year. He had a down year last year, a lot more interceptions than he had previous, and a lot of it was due to offensive line play. He had a whole lot of people in his face all season long. That leads to not poor decision making, but rash decision making, and that can lead to points against. He still was the architect on the field of a 10-7 team that missed the playoffs simply because of the numbers game. When you see nine win teams make the playoffs and 10 win teams not, it's hairline that, is the difference between making the playoffs and not. So I think Geno Smith is finding himself in a good position in Las Vegas. Not that it's necessarily better than a Clint Kubiak-led Seattle team, but I think there are good things afoot for Geno Smith and the Raiders. And then I have another hot take.
All right, lay it on us.
We talk a lot about third-year breakouts at wide receiver. The Raiders have a kid going into his third year who he takes the top off. He's going to be a huge buy in best ball. So on my best ball teams, I'm trying to take Brock Bowers and then stack him with Geno Smith and Trey Tucker. Trey Tucker is entering his third year. He is a fast boundary guy, take the top off the defense kind of guy. He and Aiden O'Connell hooked up for a lot of really deep balls. And guess who's the third best deep ball passer in the NFL? Geno Smith. So Tucker takes a huge upgrade at a quarterback getting the ball into his hands. And I think he takes a huge leap forward this year. You heard it here first.
Boom. There we go. Well, I was, I didn't think too many people would love the quarterback movement, but there's this push and pulls with everything. I was curious if Sam Darnold did anything for you. Obviously I wanted your Raiders take. I think it's great for Brock Bowers. They didn't have a quarterback, obviously. So Geno, that's an upgrade for them. Seattle, it feels more like potentially a lateral move, from an NFL standpoint. This is a poll I saw, Sam Darnold plus Chase Brown or Drake May. So it doesn't seem like Sam Darnold is really, his new stock has really changed much.
Right.
Getting an extra player on top, obviously there's an age factor into it. Darnold's not, super old. He's still in his mid-20s range. But I assume you would be on the Drake May side here. How you feel?
Let me look at a couple things real quick.
Yeah, it's not an absolute no-brainer. It's not an absolute no-brainer, but expect and we get it. If there's a format where you need a ton of flexes, we understand. But on face value, you need a running back, you need a quarterback. But do you think, and not you, Bigz, but do people think the rushing upside that Drake May brings, it might be enough to push it over the edge? It's where you definitely have to have the Drake May side over whatever Sam Darnold might get you, especially if you don't believe in what Sam Darnold did last year is more than a product of Justin Jefferson. Can Sam Darnold do it with not only losing Justin Jefferson and all those guys, but now you only have JSN? Like, they just lost DK and Tyler Lockett, so it could be more of a run approach. All of those things you kind of have to weigh in on top of Chase Brown, maybe getting neutered a little bit with another running back being brought in.
If the Bengals go out and draft somebody with some kind of draft capital, Chase Brown is cooked. I love Chase Brown, but draft capital is king at our running back position. Andrew P., you guys are great promoting you where and when I can. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I think that's a great pivot to do a quick promotion of this.
I am proud to announce that Fast Draft now has an all-defense game called D-Up. That's right, fans of IDP finally have a real money best ball game that they can play. No more manually setting up leagues every time you want to do a draft. No. Now you can play for 10 grand, 2,000 to first. Could draft up to 30 teams, all defense. And the best part, balanced scoring, tackles for loss, pass breakups. It all factors in. Just draft 6 defensive players, top 4 into your lineup every week. It's that easy.
Yeah, it is that easy, and it's super fun. So Drake May is going to play 17 games this year. In 13 games last year, he had 421 yards rushing. I comped him to Josh Allen. Not physically or talent-wise, but statistically. His numbers at North Carolina were comparable to Josh Allen. In fact, he had better numbers than Josh Allen in fewer games played, although it's college, right? His potential is through the roof. I was calling for him to be the QB1 of his draft. That got usurped by, the emergence of Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. But I've loved Drake May since he was a freshman. The New England Patriots are definitely making the moves that are necessary to insulate Drake May and make sure that he's going to be okay. 17-game season. He already had over 400 yards rushing. Sam Darnold, 200 yards rushing in 16, 17 games last year. So Drake May brings that cheat code upside. Sam Darnold did end last year as QB9. He's not losing a whole lot because of the fact that he's losing Jefferson, because he has Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Sam Darnold he peppers the slot. So if JSN is lining up in the slot and Sam Darnold is a slot guy, those two are going to have a pretty incredible relationship. What is Seattle going to do at the X? We'll find out. Are they going to get somebody comparable to Justin Jefferson? No. But I think it's safe to say, and we knew this a couple of years ago, JSN is a better option than Jordan Addison if they can go out and they can draft somebody who's going to fill the DK role or maybe get somebody in free agency, whatever. They have a plan in place. They know trading him that they have to replace him. So that I feel comfortable that Clint Kubiak knows what he's doing. The other thing that we have to look at is the fact that Clint Kubiak is taking over in Seattle. What we saw from the New Orleans Saints in the first few weeks of the season last year before everybody got broken and the team completely fell apart when the wheels came off. Clint Kubiak knows what he's doing. He's part of the Kyle Shanahan tree. And Brock Purdy is the third most efficient quarterback in the NFL. Clint Kubiak absolutely has the skill set as a coach, as an offensive coordinator, to create an environment that Sam Darnold will succeed. Kyle Juszczyk was just released or told that he was going to be released by the 49ers. Clint Kubiak has a good relationship with Juszczyk. I feel like that's a perfect situation for the Seahawks to pick up Juszczyk. They could be in the Brandon Ayuk sweepstakes. If Brandon Ayuk was added to the Seattle Seahawks and it was JSN and Brandon Ayuk along with Sam Darnold, Kenneth Walker is capable as a receiving running back. So is Zach Charbonnet. They have the pieces in place to absolutely be a force in the NFC West and compete again with the Los Angeles Rams. So I'm not scared of Darnold, but you just can't beat that Drake May cheat code rushing ability. If New England puts everything together like they should, Drake May is going to definitely be a top 10 quarterback.
All right. Yeah, I totally agree, man. I'm just banking on, or gambling, betting on maybe Drake May does ascend into that category. He's got the tools to get there. So it's more just taking that bet. We're glad to see new things from Sam Darnold like this past season. I do want to see it again, but even then, it doesn't feel like you got any sort of certainty in this. Just the new situation, it's not any better. Honestly, Darnold did what we hoped he could do with all those weapons in Minnesota, and it was just that no one thought he would do it. They were like, it's not going to happen regardless.
Right.
And
he
was set up to do it.
Don't forget, Clint Kubiak was in San Francisco when Sam Darnold was there. So they have a familiarity. They have a relationship as well. So I think Kubiak has a good idea of what Darnold's limitations are. He definitely needs to be protected. They need to beef up that offensive line because it wasn't enough. If they don't make improvements at the offensive line and he faces as much pressure as Geno Smith did last year, he's not going to be in a position to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still seeing Sam Darnold as of today going for 2026 first round pick. Would you take that?
Probably.
I'm seeing a 2025 112.
I would do that.
Okay.
It's team building, and
Yeah.
I know I'm very confident in what I'm going to be able to do in the back half of the first round of rookie drafts. That's the benefit of being a degenerate and, and having rookie mock drafts starting in January or February, whenever Sleeper got their act together.
Are there any other values we should look at, of these type of trades on DD, or even other guys that maybe, in the wake of these trades, whether it's a Breece Hall or some of the guys that are around some of these trades or free agent moves that are happening?
There's an adage in Dynasty, and it's I'm never out on a player. I'm out on a value, right? And so there is a guy who for the last 3 or 4 years has been unacquirable for me. I do not draft him in startups. I do not draft him in redraft. I do not make trades for him, and that's Deebo Samuel.
Okay.
Well,
check him out.
Now, guess what? Now I'm in on Deebo Samuel. I've been out on him for 3 or 4 years. I'm in on him. First of all, in best ball, because he's nothing else if not a spike game player. And in best ball, you love that. On top of that, that creates a stack with Terry McMillan, Zach Ertz, and Jaden Daniels. That's pretty fire. When we look at the trades that are involving Deebo Samuel, we see him going for a 25 third. I'll give up a third for Deebo Samuel. The 25 pick 203, not so much. 25 pick 211, I would give that up. Somebody gave up the 103 for Deebo and T. Higgins. I don't know if I'm in that category. Deebo Samuel straight up for Isaiah Likely. I'm in on that every day of the week.
It's an interesting mix of stuff I'm seeing here.
Deebo for Travis Etienne. I have Travis Etienne in my home league. I would do that. Travis Etienne is kind of up in the air. I'm hoping for a big comeback, but we will see. Deebo Samuel for Keon Coleman, the 201, the 211, and a 27 third. I'm not doing that. That's too much to give up for Deebo. I'm not giving up 3
He's
picks.
definitely acquirable. Deebo is got 388 trades recently, so people are making moves. If you think now that he doesn't have all those weapons around him, George Kittle always a top 3, top 2 tight end. You've got the other first round wide receiver that's there, and the Christian McCaffrey pass catching savant type of situation. Now with Commanders, it's Jerry McLaurin, and you can have whatever else you want, Deebo.
Right.
A little bit of a aged player, but I could see you buying low and just going after him anyway. Does this? I guess you're still in on McLaurin. Don't worry too much about it. How do you feel about that?
Oh, they play 2 different roles, and they're both very important roles in the offense. And I'm definitely way higher on McLaurin than I am on Deebo. That hasn't changed.
Are there any? So to do the opposite of what you said, are there any players that maybe is not the best value, but you would buy high? And an example might be, there's
Chris Olave,
and then as Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't think Olave's value is increased.
I thought okay.
Yeah, I was saying the opposite of your strategy, the opposite of buy low. Is there anyone that you're willing to buy high on? So to me, it's basically a JSN. His value might be up. I think Adam's value has increased, but I don't really count that as a buy high because it's how high is he really going for? It definitely seems like a buy. I don't think there's no way Adams is going for that much.
Let's see.
But I could
Let's take
see
a look at it.
some other guys here. All right, so we've got one involving Adams and DK. I hear about how about the 26 second and the 2025 208. I guess it's more of a rebuilder. But you would get running back there and a decent second.
I'm
And
looking
to be
at
honest, you're running out of time to sell Adams, for being
yeah.
real.
I'm looking at there have been 9 straight up trades.
Okay.
Zay Flowers, Joe Mixon. I do that in a heartbeat. Give me 1 to 2 years of a wide receiver with Matthew Stafford over a 29-year-old running back. Devontae Adams straight up for Jalen McMillan. That one's tough. I think I gotta go with McMillan, and that's kicking the can down the road because I think Devontae outproduces him this year.
Some more straight up ones here. I just filtered by just 2 assets in the deal.
Yeah, that's what I did too. 27 second, I would give that up for Devontae. 2509 or 08. Yeah, I think I do that because I think the top 5 wide receivers are gone in these rookie drafts by then.
Okay.
And that's the area where I'm picking up running backs.
Yeah, so it sounds like no, you're not trying to buy high on a JSN like Adams for a second. I mean, yeah, a second, I'm willing to just get points in my lineup for a second. Like that's more of a let's definitely do that.
This one, Devontae Adams for a 408. I want to be in that guy's league. He's giving up a 4th rounder for Devontae.
I don't know what you're thinking. How about Justin Fields? Is this buy high situation? He's kind of the reason that I'm still fine just having Anthony Richardson. It's like, okay, he's going to have these windows where even if Richardson doesn't figure it out on the Colts, I bet he gets another shot somewhere else. So you can, as long as you have your QB 1 and 2, you might be able to throw Richardson in every now and then. But for Fields to be starting, let's just say at least week 1, I can't imagine he gets benched soon after that. I don't think.
So here's the thing. If I have Anthony Richardson, I would trade him straight up for Justin Fields right now.
All right.
Also, we got Slayer Stacker in the comments. I really like y'all's opinions on everything. Great show, guys. Hey, Slayer Stacker, let me ask you a question. Do you like Slayer? Well, watch my Raiders show over on Uncovered. So just type in YouTube Uncovered, and I guess we're doing it Friday now. All of my bumpers and stuff are Slayer songs. Slayer were Raider fans. R.I.P. Frank or Jeff Hanneman, and R.I.P. the Dave Lombardo lineups. Kerry King, huge Raider fan, and Tom is cool. But all of my intro videos and stuff are all Slayer songs.
At @uncovered_NFL. Go check out more Slayer. So buy low, guys. Don't buy high. That's smart. Maybe buy low on Anthony Richardson and then flip him for Fields.
Wow, that's a good idea.
There's I would say there's still before. So when the draft happens, we're worried about some guys losing their value, the running backs mainly. I would think. I'm not too worried about a receiver stepping in and just taking someone's job. Almost doesn't really matter the age, like unless. Or the year, unless it's like Malik Neighbors or Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase type player coming in. Like, really, it's just the running backs that have a big opportunity in 2025 to lose their role. I'm concerned with, I want to be concerned with Tracy. I just try to think also from an NFL perspective, like, there's no way this team highly invests in running back, but I don't think they have to highly invest in running back because there's so many backs that I believe in this class to where, okay, Tyron Tracy, a converted wide receiver, I think he'll always have that pass-catching role in the backfield, but you need to have a high-volume offense if you're only going to be the pass-catching back. So if a running back comes in there, I'm a little worried, especially if they're a lot of 3-and-outs type of situation.
But if they're running a zone read scheme or if they're running an outside zone scheme, Tracy has shown that he can be the primary ball carrier. So he can do everything. including run a route tree out of the running back position. Some of these things, especially running back, wide receiver less so this season, but running back especially is going to be so dependent. These dynasty values are going to be so dependent on the NFL draft and which running backs get the draft capital and which of those running backs get draft capital over the incumbent running backs on their team.
Slayer says if he doesn't fumble the ball, that's true.
Yeah, it's true.
He cost him that one game versus the Panthers in overtime in London.
Fumbles are a thing that can be coached. So, and especially at wide receivers aren't, and he was a positional convert. Wide receivers aren't as skilled at catching the ball and then doing the tuck and hold. That's definitely that's a running back skill.
That's a good point. Year one, he has time to get better.
And, you see guys that, they'll have 2 or 3 fumbles in a year and then not have one for 3 or 4 years after that. We saw Ramondre have some fumbling issues last year and then totally cleaned it up. So fumbles are not a sticky stat in fantasy usually. But yeah, we have there are so many running backs in this draft class. All it's going to take is draft capital awareness. You have a guy like Dameon Pierce a couple of years ago, had a fantastic season. They brought in another running back. Joe Mixon took over for him. He lost his job the season before that, basically, due to inefficiency. You had Rachaad White a couple of years ago. Fantastic. Top 5 running back. What happens? Bucky comes in last year, even with his 4th round draft capital, completely usurped Rachaad White. There were some injury issues, what have you. But if you have a running back on your dynasty lineup and that guy's team drafts somebody with more draft capital than he had, the writing is on the wall. That guy's done.
So I wanted to do a quick exercise with that in mind.
Well, real quickly, I want to say
running backs. Oh yeah,
I think I mentioned this last week. There are specific rookie profile thresholds at the combine that you need to hit. Certain weight, certain speed, certain BMI, whatever. There were 18 running backs that all hit, 20 running backs that all hit those minimum thresholds. And when I say minimum thresholds, I mean indicators for fantasy production.
And that's a record.
Absolutely. So draft capital means everything in this draft.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's why we love the game, because you rarely think you're going to see a quarterback class with 6 first-round quarterbacks. You rarely think you're going to see a running back class with 18 running backs that are probably going to be starting one day. And sure, we know this isn't all going to pan out that way, but right now it's something to be excited for. So I was going to say, on the flip side of my questions, since I've been flipping both of my questions so far, who do you think has a safe job? Not who are you worried about losing their job, but James Cook, I think, is safe. I know we had a Ray Davis enter the chat last year. He was good. Maybe they want to bring in someone to replace Ty Johnson, but I actually thought he had some decent moments as well. You already paid Josh Allen, I think, 3 years earlier than you needed to. I just don't see why you would be overly investing in that position when defense, with the injuries especially, that was an issue for them. I'm just going to say I think Cook is safe. How do you feel?
I think Cook is safe. The thing is, though, that Buffalo definitely has a running back committee. They really like getting the ball into Ty Johnson and Ray Davis's hands. So whether that takes away anything from James Cook, I don't know. It's a similar situation to Travis Etienne a couple of years ago. He had a lot of really big plays, and that's what kind of propped up his fantasy points. And then when you kind of have changes to the offense and injuries and stuff like that, and you don't have those breakaway plays, it really hurts. And we saw that from Etienne last year. So we could see a situation next year where James Cook, if he's not being the explosive home run hitter that he is, Ray Davis and Ty Johnson eat into what he can do.
Yeah, and one other thing, you see how there's player number 4, player number 5 that's blank for these guys. They're going to fill it in with somebody. Some of these other teams, and don't hold me to exactly how accurate this is, but shout out to our lads, they do good work over there. You know, if you don't have your running back 4 or 5, you're going to get them one way or another.
I usually have like 3 our lads tabs right next to my
it's very handy for the college side too.
Yeah.
I love the college side. So Devonta Chan, I mean, I think we can go a little faster, but because the production will be there for him. I think regardless, Jalen Wright's good enough competition. They did lose a Raheem Mostert, so there's some shakeup there. I think the running back room for the Patriots is completely wide open. It sounded like they were benching Stevenson at one point in the late part of the season last year. They did change coaches. That's even one more reason that this isn't my guy potentially, and that coach had a Derrick Henry, right? So
sense.
I'm not saying it makes sense to go after one, not when this team is so incomplete. But they don't have any loyalty to these guys. It didn't feel like.
Yeah. Hall is safe. Henry's safe.
Yeah.
Although I don't think Justice Hill is safe. I'd rather go with Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah. He looked to be back from that injury. We talked about Chase Brown already. We'll move on. We understand the Brown situation. It's not safe for any of those guys. So the Najee Harris moves on. This has the fewest amount of guys on any team so far. Only 2 running backs rostered. So,
and one of them is Cordero Patterson.
Yeah. But Jaylen Warren did get a 2nd-round tender, I believe. We got some kind of thing going on there. So I think it cost the team a 2nd-round pick to go get him.
He's very likely
staying. So he's safe to be on the roster, probably in the same role if they bring in another guy. But there is a chance that there's a chance that this is James Conner path of waiting your turn to be the backup and then getting the starting job.
Yeah, because we saw a couple years ago with Warren's efficiency, he could be the bell cow.
Yeah. So it's possible. And Cordell Patterson is just the oldest running back in the league. It's just not realistic that I don't think there's a chance in hell that this is
really
the running back.
I don't think
exactly. He's an athlete. Yeah, I think that might be with this ATL. No, that's Falcons. Got you. All right. So AFC South, I wouldn't consider it safe. Minshew does have a contract, but this is just a young team with. They tried to make passing the identity. Maybe they try to make running the identity. We'll see what happens there. They did bring in
Taylor's safe.
Kirk. Yeah, Taylor's safe. You talked about Etienne already. Pollard, Spears.
Shout out UC Davis legend Joshua Kelly.
Yeah. Started back in LA with the Chargers, I believe. Okay, so so Dallas Cowboys just signed Javonte Williams away from the Broncos. So this seems wide open because I didn't feel Jaleel could push piles at all, or not feel he can't push piles.
No, that's Estime's job, and I think Estime is the RB1. And
okay, there we go. It doesn't feel like a hot take, but at the same time, Audric only had that one game where he was kind of decent.
Right, but give him him the rock.
Yeah. All right. So I think the Chiefs situation is up in the air. Do you agree?
No, I think it's still Pacheco. Okay. I don't think Elijah Mitchell is.
Okay. Was it the fibula issue, like him returning from that he was just like kind of – they still leaned on Kareem Hunt even though Pacheco was back?
Yeah. I mean, like it takes running backs a good year to get back.
All right. Your Raiders. You take the floor.
This depth chart is
they have the most running backs. They've got 6 running backs. They're good.
Right, but Sincere McCormick is not an RB1 by any stretch of the imagination. Amir Abdullah is almost as old as me.
League winner of Amir Abdullah.
Madison is one of the most inefficient running backs that we've ever seen. Zamir White has a 4-game audition that he successfully navigated, and then Gardner Minshew completely torpedoed any possibility of Zamir White doing anything last year. Chris Collier, nobody knows who he is. Dylan Laube, we all know who he is, but last year's coaching staff wasn't really willing to give him a chance. I could very easily see a situation where they enter 2025 with Zamir White as their RB1 and Dylan Laube as their changeup.
Yeah.
Unless we watch them go take 2 running backs in the draft, which is what I want, like Raheem Sanders and RJ
Yeah.
Harvey or Bashal Tutin. I want that combination on the Raiders next year.
What would Chip Kelly do, or is it more Pete Carroll's philosophy that's going to win out?
It's going to be John Spytek, and he takes running backs late.
Okay. All right.
He drafted Bucky Irving.
Bashal Tutin, welcome to the Raiders. We're calling it now. So let's not make it a Raiders show all the way, though.
No.
Najee, we're good with that situation. I don't know what it means for J.K. Dobbs, but we can move along.
I was hoping for Kamani Vidal, but
yeah. Oh, that's right. That's the one. That's the biggest loser. I mean, Vidal, he was a hyped up guy last season. It doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. Running back, he's got future time, but it's 1-year deal for Najee. Anything could happen in 2026. I just don't think.
Let's talk about the Cowboys for a second.
Yeah, here we go.
So everybody wants the Cowboys to make moves, and so what move did they make? They went and grabbed one of the worst running backs in the NFL. They have Rico Dowdle in-house. All they have to do is
he's a free agent.
I know, but all they have to do is re-sign him, and he was a top 15 running back last year.
He's not going to re-sign for $3 million like Javonte Williams.
But if he did, Javonte Williams still wouldn't be the starting running back. So what's your take? Are they going to draft somebody high?
After a lot of counseling, I've decided not to go running back early. Okay. But and I don't think they are either. They haven't shown that they want to do that. Like after the Zeke Elliott early signing and big contract after Cabo Zeke or whatever it is, I think they've learned that lesson. It's a distant memory at this point. They have been playing the draft pretty much by the book. So if I'm thinking of what are they going to do, I don't think they're going running back Genty early. Even if he's gone, doesn't matter. I don't think they're going to overthink it. Probably get a lineman since the quarterback's coming off of injuries.
What about
they're going to want to
Johnson in the second?
Yeah, I can see us getting our running back later. The Cowboys' identity is draft and play the guys that you draft. That's their identity. It's not free agency. It's none of that. They don't even care about necessarily bringing back Rico Dowdle. They love that they were able to draft Rico Dowdle or find Rico Dowdle and then get him to be the starter, just like Tony Pollard. And now you can go on your way and get your contract, Tony Pollard, your Rico Dowdle. Now it's time for them to draft another guy that's going to be the future. And I think it could very well be a Travion Henderson in the second, or what Caleb Johnson. Quinshon Judkins, if he's there in the second. Yes, I could totally see that. So this is, last year we got 0 running backs drafted to the Cowboys. I just
now
don't
you're going to draft
that.
4.
Yeah. So we talked about Tyrone Tracy. Saquon's good.
Saquon is not safe. Not with Will Shipley there.
Okay. Well, Brian Robinson's not safe with Debo there, taking some runs in the quarterback. But as far as them drafting one, I think Eckler kind of opens the door for that. They got a lot of utility out of Jeremy McNichols, but and even Chris Rodriguez.
They filled in nicely.
Yeah, they'll be all right. I think the big Genty question mark starts with the Bears for most people. Then it goes to Cowboys. I think that's usually where people kind of have it, just because this coach has gotten rid of DeAndre Swift on the Lions. I'm
pleading with you. Just give Roshan a chance.
Yes, I would love that. So, yeah, don't make him the RB3 by drafting Genty. So that one's a little bit open, but I do like the players at least. The rest of these teams are all actually safe. Aaron Jones just signed a contract, so he's a free agency winner on his own. The guys behind him, I'm not super certain. The Vikings have, I think, traded for Cam Akers twice, so they do like him. So there you go. All right, so we only have 2 more divisions left. We'll just burn through these. So
Falcons are set, Panthers are set, Saints are set. Bucks are kind of up in the air what they do with Rachaad White.
Yeah, Sean Tucker did produce, I think, in 2 games, in 2 years so far. So maybe there's something there. Shout out to Chase Edmonds. That was a nice year back in the day. So then, James Conner, Trey Benson, that's safe. I think we all heard they're excited for Trey Benson this year. And then, I think the rest of these running back rooms are all safe. So it's really just, it's not too many where I'm thinking, obviously, it's just an absolute no-brainer. They get a guy. It's maybe 3 to 5. But there's, like you said, there's 18 running backs that are just going to stomp their way into these. So that's why it really is the harder question is who's who do you think gets replaced versus who's safe? Because there's a lot of guys where we think they're safe, but I think we're going to get maybe blindsided in some of these spots.
There are also a couple of guys who are down the depth chart a little bit that I would wait until after the draft and then go target. Blake Corum is one of those. He's still very young. Kenny McIntosh is another one. That guy has some serious skills. And I mean, these are sleepers, basically. But Blake Corum brought some draft capital with him, and he's very young. He just happened to come into a crowded LA running back room with Kyron Williams, who decided he wasn't going to be slow and inefficient. But there are some guys who we see this every year with 0 RB builds. You're an injury away from production, and Blake Corum is one of those guys. I guess Kenny McIntosh is a couple of injuries away. We saw we saw what Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerrero did last year when McCaffrey was down. So
good point.
In that third tier, be looking for guys who are like an injury away.
Yeah, Guerrero got playing time
or draft capital. Braylon Allen is another one. Something happens to Breece Hall, boom, Braylon Allen is your guy.
Yeah. Green Bay looks like a landing spot. Yes, they got Lloyd, but they didn't seem to overly favor A.J. Dillon anymore. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There's plenty of RB3s that we see end up getting a role at one point or another. So I can't wait to see, because it's just I think it's definitely guaranteed to Patriots get one, but it's just so many landing spots where I think we're going to get blindsided. And maybe you're right. It won't be the starter gets replaced right out the gate, but the guys down the line is going to get completely shaken up. And then we'll look up in week 6 when the injuries are starting to happen. Then, the running back one for the Jets is actually, I don't know, name some late running back, Bashaw Tutner or something like that.
I'm not so sure about New England being heavily invested in drafting a running back to replace Gibson or Ramondre. I mean, you have 2 capable guys. You have Antonio Gibson, who's a pass-catching third down back. You have Ramondre Stevenson, who's at least good for the first 2 downs. And they have so many needs elsewhere. I don't think running back is going to be a priority for them.
All right. Well, we'll have to see, man. I still have seen Vrabel be that defensive-minded, run-the-ball coach, want to slow the clock down. Stevenson has some juice. I do like that. It's just we're going to have to see. One of these running backs are going somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, and Ramondre's fine if New England heavily invests in their offensive line. They need to stop investing in linebackers, but yeah.
All right, sweet. Well, appreciate you guys. This has been a great little free agency recap. If you have any other final breaking news, let us know in the chat. I should have asked y'all that right at the beginning. Let us know if we missed something. But I don't see anything too crazy. Kevontae Turpin re-signing with the Dallas Cowboys, 3 years, $18 million. Yeah, I know. I already sent it to my group chat before we started, but
now
I forgot to make that joke earlier.
is $6 million a year an overpay for a kick returner?
No, he won us a game versus Washington, our rival, at the end of the season.
Like, would you, if say
we're using him as a receiver, you're really reducing him to the like his receiving role, receptions, targets has increased every year since leaving the XFL or whatever it was, and he was out there. And right now, it's basically been CD, Tolbert, and him.
I'm not minimizing
Cooks isn't
him.
coming back.
I like Kevontae Turpin. He's
Yeah.
fantastic in leagues that
But
count.
you're not paying
kick
$6
return
million
rate.
for a kick returner. You're
I was
getting
being
$6 million for the
facetious.
fastest player in the league who's a kick returner and sometimes, get a little end around, do a little something.
Another guy that I think is going to have a huge year is Malik Washington.
Ooh, love it. Shout out to Dustin, I believe, All22FF. He had just had a Malik Washington graphic. Anything Malik Washington related, I want to consume and be known as a part of the hype train. So let's go. All right, guys. Any closing thoughts? This is the Dynasty Stock Market presented by Fast Draft. Use promo code BOOTH to get $25 deposit match, and you can find me at Dynasty FKey on X. We're going to be here with you guys throughout this draft process and off season, and we're locking in. I'm excited. We got a lot more content. We're covering fantasy, NFL over there. If you want to check out Bigz or my show on Uncover_NFL, just to get you some mock drafts for the whole NFL and things like that. And appreciate you, Slayer Stacker. Go get your Slayer over there as well and get that fix in. And Bigz, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, follow me at BigBonedFFB on Twitter and BigBoned. I forgot what my handle is. And just it's BigBonedFFB on Twitter. BigBoned, just BigBoned over on Blue Sky. One of the things that I really like to do is, and we'll be when there's less news and less immediate breaking things. What I really like to do is screen record my fast drafts, and so I'll jump on to Twitter and Blue Sky and like invite everybody to like come along and draft with me, and we'll jump into a draft and do that, and then I'll have it screen recorded and we'll show it on the show and stuff, and that's fun for me.
I would love to see some more of those. I'm almost maxed out of the D up and one of the other ones. So, but yeah, Bigz, hit the outro for us, and we will catch you guys.
I guess I'm the producer
in the next one. See you guys.
Thanks for watching.
Peace.
I'll find it somewhere. There it is.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.